Good morning, Reds. Grey 100 here for your pleasure. Now, this young lady posted this on, I think it was Instagram. I clocked it this morning. I took a screenshot. She had 3 different shirts. I screenshotted one of them. Now, the white one with the blue cord. Now, I showed this to a friend of mine and said this girl is claiming that this was the first shirt worn by Manchester United as of 1902 when they changed from Newton Heath. And he sent me this, which shows just a plain white shirt. And he said, well, no, they just played in a plain white shirt. So this inspired me to do some digging, find some information, and I discovered unitedkits.com. Now, I'm going to read you what they've put, their information. It's quite, some of you might find it quite interesting. Others maybe not. However, what do you want? Transfer speculation invented by the press? Or good old information, factual stuff that's been hunted, rooted out and delivered to you for free. In the meantime, smash like, subscribe and press the bell for notifications for all our latest content. That will make me very happy. It helps no end with the channel growth. Now, the definitive guide to the kits worn by Manchester United, the history of the kit. They go on, we have made every effort to ensure that the information contained in this website is accurate and any assumptions we have made are factually based. So with that in mind, let's go. The early kits. The earliest recorded colours worn by Newton Heath appear in the Sportsman's Yearbook 1880, published in 1879 by Cassell, Peter, Galpin and Co. The colours are listed as white with blue cord. Ooh. The colours were unchanged in the 1881 edition of the book, which sadly was the last to be published. Now, the white with the blue cord, that makes me think, ooh, is she right? No, she's not. Reason being, she claims the white with the blue line across was the first kit as Manchester United as of 1902. This is referring to 1880. So we'll go on. In the view of Dave Moore, who runs the Historical Kits website, white shirts were a popular choice at a time when most players were expected to provide their own kits as they were the cheapest. The white shirts, cheaper than a shirt with colour, for obvious reasons. They didn't have to work too much on creating the shirt because it's just white. To distinguish themselves, teams often wore coloured caps or cords. The cord would have been worn either as a belt or a sash across the shoulder. Ooh. Sounds like she's close, but she might be out with her years. This practice had largely disappeared by 1878. However, and the colours mentioned in the Sportsman's Yearbook 1880 probably refer to the club's cricket team. The green and gold myth. Now, you may have heard this in the past. I have. If you ask me to explain it, no, it's gone. You know, one of them things, a couple of years ago, life gets in the way, things happen. It's just, don't need that in my memory banks. So, here we go with that one. We have not discovered any contemporary evidence of the colours worn by Newton Heath between 1881 and 1887. Almost all of the modern club's histories list the colours as green and gold quartered shirts, but don't offer any compelling evidence. The myth was reinforced in 1992 when Umbro launched a green and gold shirt for the club's third kit. The colours were then adopted by the supporters movement, opposed to the takeover of the club of the Glazers in 2005. Based upon our research, we believe it is probable that the players wore red and white quartered shirts from the outset. The earliest known contemporary reference of Newton Heath's colours was discovered by Brian Landemore, joint author of The Definitive Newton Heath FC, with Alan Shurey, published by Soccer Data. The Manchester and District FA Rulebook for 1887-1888 lists the club colours as red and white. itchy eye. These colours are confirmed in a match report in the Athletic News in September 1889 with Powell and his merry men in their familiar red and white costumes. We assume the shirts would have been red and white quarters from later photographs of the team. Red and white quartered shirts were confirmed as the club's original colours by Herbert Dale in an interview published in the Football Chronicle in October 1922. It is likely that the players initially wore white breeches before later changing to blue ones. Into the Football League. The Athletic News Football Annual 1892-93, which was a bloody long time ago, confirmed that the club had registered red and white quartered shirts and blue shorts with the Football League for the season. These colours were listed again as the registered club colours in the Athletic News Football Annual 1893-94. Following the acrimonious split with Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway, the club sought permission from the league to register new colours of green and gold striped shirts, which you will see on my friends. I'll show you again now. The cricket and football field in September 1893 reported Newton Heath have discarded the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway colours, red and white jerseys, for green and gold. This finally dispels the idea that green and gold were the colours of the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway, whose colours were more logically inspired by the red rose of Lancashire and the white rose of Yorkshire. The War of the Roses. The Association of Football Statisticians, bloody hell, more coffee, Vicar. Statisticians 1894-95 annual, published in March 1983, lists Newton Heath's colours as green and gold, which we know from team photographs were a sold green shirt with gold trim. I think they mean solid green shirt with gold trim. Which is also on my friend's little, I'll show you again, 1896-97 season. The club adopted plain white shirts, probably as a consequence of their worsening financial plight. As we said, the white shirts were cheaper. White remained the club's home colours until its reformation as Manchester United in 1902. I told you it was 1902. When red shirts and white shorts were chosen as the club colours. They have remained so, with two notable exceptions ever since. Clubs were first required to register their colours with the Football League from the start of the 1891-92 season. At that time, it was the home clubs that changed the kits, not the away clubs. So if an away club comes to your ground, they're wearing the same shirt as you got to change yours. Nothing wrong with that. Hospitable, it's welcoming. At that time, because I forgot what I was up to, at that time it was the home clubs that changed kits whenever a colour clash occurred, and the league instructed them to have a set of white shirts available for this purpose. The modern convention of away sides changing their kits was introduced in 1924-25. The earliest contemporary evidence of the club's change kits we have discovered is from January 1899. James Thomas, a contributor to the site, discovered a match report from Newton Heath's game at Walsall on January the 21st, in which the Heathens' change shirts were described as red and black combination. Goalkeeper kits. Oh, let's have a look at goalkeeper kits. Because everyone thinks green, don't they? When somebody said to me, what's the original goalkeeping colour, I personally would have said green. I know we see like the Peter Schmeichel ones with all the different colours all over them. You've seen plain yellow ones. But I personally thought green was the original goalkeeping shirt. It appears, and this doesn't happen very often, I was wrong. We'll just play that down for. I might even edit that bit out. Since the advent of organised football, teams have always employed a goalkeeper, although it was not originally the specialised position it has become, just as the offside law and the changes to it proved decisive in the development of tactics in the game. So the rules governing the handling of the ball have shaped the goalkeeper's role. The laws adopted by the newly formed FA in 1863 allowed any of the players to handle the ball. Interesting. And as a consequence, the goalkeeper was simply the deepest lying defender. Makes sense. This rule was changed in 1872, where after just one player per team was allowed to handle, but could do so anywhere within their own half. Wow. I'm sort of glad the rules have changed. Although, and I hate this word, the differentiation, I did it, between the goalkeeper position and outfield players was now more clearly defined. It would take another 10 years before players could be regarded as goalkeepers. Subsequent changes to the laws further defined the goalkeeper's role. Crossbars and nets were made compulsory, and in 1894, charging a goalkeeper was only allowed when the keeper was playing the ball or obstructing an opponent. This effectively stopped the practice of charging a goalkeeper over the line as he jumped to catch the ball, although the exceptions to the new rules still allowed some brutal challenges. Reminds me of the Argentinians. In 1912, the FA finally restricted goalkeepers to handling the ball within the confines of the penalty area. Since the goalkeeper had originally been the last defender, he wore the same colours as the rest of his teammates, and it was not until the start of the 1909-10 season that goalkeepers were required to wear different colours. Initially, the options were either royal blue, scarlet, or white. Royal green, added for the 1912-13 season, quickly became the standard for all league clubs. The league's rule was frequently ignored by both clubs and match officials until a league threatened to fine offenders in 1913. Give us your money. Okay, I'll wear it. Goalkeeper shirts were soon being made from a much heavier wool than the outfield players' jerseys. Perhaps after they had been restricted to the goal mouth. Yeah, you're going to get cold, aren't you? Just stood around doing not very much if your team's great and always on the attack. So a nice warm woolly jumper. And usually had a polo neck top. This style of jersey was worn by keepers until the mid-50s. Must have still been cold then in the early 50s, eh? In 1921, the IFAB, International Football Association Board, over my head, ruled a deep yellow jersey was reserved exclusively for goalkeepers in international matches. The rule was relaxed in the 1970s. Oh, we're going on to shirt numbers. Shirt numbers had been used as early as March 1914 in the game between the English Wanderers and Corinthians. They were used in the 1933 FA Cup final, with the outfield players numbered 2 to 11. The Football League ruled shirt numbers were mandatory from the start of 1939 to the 40 season. Players were numbered 1 to 11 based upon the old 2-3-5 formation, which was entirely redundant by 1939. The system remained unchanged, although it had been revised following the advent of substitutes in the 60s, until the adoption of a squad numbering system in the Premier League for the season 1993-94. And we all know what happened then, don't we? Yes, we do. What was it? Oh, yes. United had waited years and years and years and years to win the top flight. And the previous season, we won it. Well, this season, we won it again. 2 on the trot. So, 2 on the trot to all the other teams. Makes you proud, doesn't it? Alright, I'll get on with it. And the inclusion of players' names on the shirts. I bet you forgot all of the sentence that was finishing. Sorry, my fault. Got distracted. Premier League champions. The birth of modern kits. Hungary's 6-3 victory at Wembley. Don't like the sound of that. On November 23rd, 1953, proved to be a watershed in the history of the game in England. It was the first time a continental side had won on English soil. 1953. Well, that means we played for quite a while without a defeat. Because we're great. And 7 months later, Hungary's superiority was emphasised in a 7-1 victory in Budapest. Don't expect me to be happy about this. England's heaviest defeat. Don't rub it in. The manner of the defeats led to a full-scale evaluation of all... I thought I was going to say war then. Evaluation of all aspects of the national game. England's tactics, training and technical ability had all been visibly shown to be lacking. Even the lightweight modern kits worn by the Hungarians, which had initially drawn a quizzical and derogatory response from commentators, were seen as further evidence of England's decline. Now, excuse me. There had been a few developments in kit designs and materials since the First World War, but now new materials and technology were embraced as the English game fought to catch up with the Continentals. I think we're still trying. Leading the way was Matt Busby, hurrah, and the Manchester-based kit manufacturer Umbro. In 1955-56, United experimented with new kits for the outfield players, and a year later introduced a new goalkeeper's kit. The traditional heavy wool shirt with rolled neck was replaced with a more lightweight jersey with rounded collar, similar to the shirts worn by the rest of the team. By the end of the decade, this new design had replaced the more traditional polo neck woolen shirts. But they weren't too comfortable in the height of summer, them thick woolen shirts. For decades, goalkeepers had worn tracksuit bottoms when the pitches were frozen or covered in snow. The proliferation of undersoil heating at modern stadia has largely ended this tradition, although there are still the odd occasions, was that a shaky camera I saw at the corner of my eye? When tracky bottoms are still worn. Peter Schmeichel wore them at Rapid Wien. Or is that wine? It's not Rapid Vienna, is it? Rapid, W-I-E-N, Wien, or is it German, Wien? In the Champions League in 1996-97 and in the FA Cup tie at Wimbledon. So this Rapid Wien. I never said I knew everything. No, really, I don't. I actually don't. I know, hard to comprehend, isn't it? More recently, Massimo Tiebe, oh God. Why mention him? Massimo Tiebe. Let's just forget him. Sported them. Yeah, alright, he did in all 3 of his games for United in September 1999. Oh God, he was an absolute shocker, wasn't he? Sponsorship regulations. Sponsors' logos first appeared on United shirts in 82-83. Do you know what? I didn't even realise it was that late. I was actually like... 1982, I would have been 8 years old. Yeah. I have no recollection of United playing with a shirt without, in my lifetime I mean, without a sponsor on it. Sharp was the first one that I remember. I think that was the first one we had. They were based at, I say based, they had a factory at Newton Heath, just up the road, or near Newton Heath. I think it was Oldham Road, not sure, could be Rochdale Road. Anyway, enough of the reminiscing. Although in televised games, the regulations meant they had to continue wearing plain shirts that season. To meet UEFA's regulations on advertising, United had to adapt several of their kits during the 80s and 90s. The variants are discussed in an article here. Well, I'm not clicking the link because I could end up doing that all day long, and you're just going to get really, really bored of looking at that. How could you be? Come on. I had a shave yesterday. Look at the growth. Anyway, never. The FA and UEFA have permitted different size sponsors' logos on shirts in the competitions they oversee. The Premier League regulations stipulate that the logo cannot exceed 250 centimetres squared, whilst for UEFA competitions the maximum size is smaller at 200 centimetres. The kit that best illustrates the difference in the size of the respective logo is the 2011-12 change kit. They go on to thank somebody for showing a picture of it. I'm not going to do that. The Premier League decided in November 2016 to allow a sponsor's logo on the right shirt sleeve from the 17-18 season. Manchester City. I don't like saying that. Were the first club to announce a deal with Korean tyre manufacturer Nexon, worth a reported £5 million a season. Good for them. Good for you, City. Cheaty. United signed a sleeve 5-year sponsorship deal with Kohler, Kohler, written not the drink, reportedly worth 20 million per season. Suck on that one, City, which started in 18-19 season. So the following season, after City were the breakthrough team to do it, United went and did it and earned 4 times more. Suck it. Sleeve sponsorship was forbidden by UEFA until the start of the 2021-22 season. So there you have it. I have given you lots of interesting information today. I will possibly be back later on this evening, unless anything breaks. That's, I don't do transfer talk and there's speculation. However, if we get this is happening, he's going for a medical tomorrow, medical book, price agreed, anything like that, I bring that, because we're dealing then with facts, not speculation that just gets everybody up in arms. So yes, I may be back prior with anything breaking. Otherwise, I'm going to try my level best to get back this evening for the Suppertime supplement, and tonight it will probably be based on, my channel's 2 weeks old, maybe just over. The work that I've had to put in to this, creating this channel, finding a sponsor, yes, come on, RP Vehicle, I can't remember what they're called, I'm so excited, RP Vehicle Repairs, get in, thank you Reese. The work that I've had to put in has been shocking. It's not just a case of, I'm going to make a YouTube channel, boom, there, gone, done. Oh, no. There's lots more to it. So when people say, YouTube, get a proper job, trust me, I've probably worked harder in this last 2 weeks, alright, it's not manual work, than most other people that aren't doing manual work, trust me. And for somebody who's not overly computer literate, I'm learning on the fly, I'm learning very fast, and everything's getting improved as we go along, but it's not easy, it's very difficult. And so tonight I might go through, with a touch of humour and sarcasm and smart-arseness, if that's even a word, what I have had to endure for the last 2 weeks. I've waffled on enough, you know me, Grey 100 out.